Hello everyone, Time to Grind here, and today I wanted to talk about Noita. And Noita is a super unique action roguelite where every single pixel in the game is physically simulated. So if you played Powder Toy or any of those types of games back in the day, this is like those, but it's a roguelite with crazy and fun random spells and combos. So in the game you spawn with two random wands that will have a random spell on them. Normally you'll have like a main wand that has some infinite ammo spell that does damage, and then you'll have some special wand with ammo so it could summon bombs or TNT, it could shoot explosive balls or some other things. And you start making your way down in the depths using your wands to kill enemies and your jetpack to maneuver around the world. And the main draw of the game is, as you can tell, every single pixel is simulated. So when there's an explosion or fire, if it touches wood, it'll physically start to burn the wood, and it can catch you on fire and you'll have to douse yourself with water. There's gunpowder in the game, and if you light it, with fire, or if it gets blown up, it'll create a huge explosion. Even the enemies have blood in them, so if you kill them, you can actually douse yourself in the blood that, drops in the world to get an effect. If acid is blocking your path, sometimes you might just be able to blow up another area to drain the area you need to get into. And these are just kind of some of the few examples I can think of off the top of my head in order to describe what it means to have just every pixel simulated. But, in reality, kind of in, just everyday terms, it means that the world and environment you are in is just as interesting as the enemies, if not more interested. You always have to pay close attention to what is around you, both in terms of how it could screw you over, but also how you can shape the world around you and react with it to benefit you. And so the world being simulated pixel by pixel is a huge part of the game, but the spell and wand system in the game is the other half of this amazing, incredible game. So like I said, you have your basic wands you start out with, but eventually you'll start finding other wands in the depths that you can pick up. Each wand will have various stats along with several spell slots, and most of the wands you pick up in the world already have several spells in them already. So every time you pick up a wand in the environment, they are going to feel completely different from one another because you have so many random variables that make each wand unique. Firstly, you have all the stats that I talked about, but then you have these spells and what order the spells are in as well. So you keep getting crazy random wands that all do super quirky and unique things, and that is just a ton of fun in itself. And if that was all wands were, that would be fine, but instead there's actually a crazy amount of depth that wands bring with them because you can fully customize them, and I'll touch on that in a second. Whenever you find a teleporter at the end of an area, you get brought to a little area that regens your health and increases your max HP, and also refills all of your spell ammo. There's also a shop where you can buy different random wands and spells using the gold you get from killing enemies, and then you get to this altar. And at the altar, you get to choose one of 3 passive items that do several different random effects. They could do things like giving you extra lives, they could make you faster, they could damage enemies that hit you, they could make you immune to electricity, and there's just a lot of quirky, unique effects that these passives could be. And at the altar, you can also completely customize your wands. And so that means you can take off all the spells from any of them and mix and match them together and create your own sequence or program almost of how your wand will fire. So you could do alternating spells in a wand that will make it fire 2 different spells, or you can use modifiers to make the spread of your wand crazy high but give it a lot of damage. And there is a stupid amount of depth in this part of the game, and I would be lying if I said I understood it completely, because it seems like you could do some like 500 IQ plays with combining and mixing and matching spells to create super powerful wands, and I probably haven't even scratched the surface of what's possible in this game. But what I like about the game though is that even though it has this crazy in-depth wand customizing system, it's not that overwhelming because you could just never customize your wands and instead only use the pre-built wands you find randomly throughout the cave, and you would still have just as much fun and could still find some crazy powerful combos. Obviously, if you get really good at the game and can actually learn this system, then you will definitely do better, and that's awesome because it's rewarding the player for learning the mechanics instead of punishing a newer player with just extremely overwhelming mechanics. And so overall, you were just trying to get as far as possible, and I will say that I feel like I have played enough of the game to get a good feel for all the mechanics and just the game in general, but there are a ton of secrets and things I haven't found or discovered, so, you know, there may be some things I am missing out on, but it definitely feels like there is a lot of replayability in the game, and that's a really good thing. And it doesn't necessarily come in terms of a skill tree or a baked-in progression system, because this game doesn't have a lot of that stuff like other roguelites. Instead, it's more about just having each run be completely different from each other and discovering some crazy different combos and strategies each time, and it truly feels like a sandbox. But overall, if you are a fan of roguelikes or roguelites, or you just want a kind of fun sandboxy pixel world to explore, I would highly recommend this game because there is absolutely nothing like it I can compare it to. So if you want this type of gameplay, Noita is really the only game I can think of that you can play to get that need. And if Noita seems super cool and you want to see me play through a couple runs, I would recommend checking out the Let's Play I made for it a little bit before making this review. You can see a link to it at the end of the video, and it'll be in the description and comments as well. And if you've played Noita or just from watching gameplay, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. I make about 4 to 6 reviews and Let's Plays a week, and roguelites and roguelikes are easily one of my biggest focuses, so if you love these types of games as much as I do, then consider subscribing and ringing that bell like all the big boy YouTubers say to see those in the future. And I'm still wanting to play and review Crown Trick for those of you that have been asking me about it, so stay tuned for those videos as well. And if you're going to be grinding out some games of Noita, I wish you luck, and see you all next time.